Hi, Charles Cherney here. And today's question is the summer market in Cambridge and Somerville a good time to buy and sell? And the answer is it is. The summer market is solid in Cambridge and Somerville. So let's just define to begin with what constitutes the summer market. And in this market, Cambridge and Somerville, we can think of the summer market as after Memorial Day in May and continuing through Labor Day in early September. And so the heart, of course, then of the summer market are the months of June, July, and August. And as I make this video in early June, it's early days here now in the summer market. And yes, of course, the summer market is not as fast and furious as the spring market just concluded. There's not as many new listings and there's not as many buyers in the market. And the pace of the summer market is a step or two behind the spring market, which we might think of as peaking in March, April, and May. But look, the summer market is still a solid market, and it's a good market to be in as a buyer or seller in Cambridge and Somerville. So for buyers, what are the advantages? Well, perhaps there are fewer buyers to compete with in the market as you set out to find the home you seek to purchase. And that can be nice. In the spring market, if you go to a new listing, it's not uncommon for people at a first open house to be swarming the property. And in the summer, it's much more likely that the number of people that come out to see a new listing will be reduced. There may be fewer people bidding at a bid deadline on a summer market offering than a spring market offering. So it can be refreshing for a buyer not to have to compete with so many other buyers. The opposite side of the coin in this regard is that a buyer may not have as many opportunities. That is, there may be fewer listings to consider in the summer market than in the spring, just simply because people will tend to try to list for sale if possible in the spring market, which is generally considered the best time of year to be a new listing. So it's not as if there will not be choice, but there may not be as many choices for a summer market buyer as there would be in the spring. And so look, for a buyer, it's still a good time to buy. You might still be able to close before the beginning of the school year. And in fact, many buyers who are planning to be at Harvard or MIT are summer market buyers, and they're seeking to close before the school year starts in September. It's still an active market. It's still a good time for buyers to be looking to buy. For sellers, it's also just fine to be on in the summer in Cambridge and Somerville. First of all, the weather is more likely to favor a summer market listing than any time of the year. It's more likely to be warm, it's more likely to be sunny, and it's easier to prepare your property to list for sale and for it to look good once it comes on the market. This is New England, so there are no guarantees, but it's not like you're up against darkness early in the afternoon or extremely cold weather and the challenges that those can bring. It may also be that if you're a seller on in the summer, you can time the listing so that it comes on the market when you take a summer vacation and you're out of town, and your agent can facilitate the first wave of showings and open houses with your absence made easier by selecting a time frame that allows you to get off on vacation. Also, you may not have as many other listings to compete with because it's the summer market, not the spring market. And so it's your chance perhaps to stand out and shine. And it may get more attention from the market, from buyers in the market, by having fewer properties to compete with as an active listing. And then what's nice for a summer market seller is that if for whatever reason you don't find your buyer in the summer, June, July, August, you do have the safety net of the fall market to follow, which is after Labor Day until mid-November, where there typically is an uptick in activity, and buyers who were out of the market over the summer are back in the market before the end of the year. So you have this sort of awareness that there's the fall market still ahead if needed to assist you with the sale of your home. So look, it's a perfectly fine time to be for sale. And there are properties for sale in the summer market and buyers out looking to buy in the summer market. And in fact, the pace at which things travel in the summer market can make it a more comfortable market for both buyer and seller alike to be successful in either buying the right home or selling for the best price. So that's it in a nutshell. It's a great market to be in, and it's is, generally speaking, in my experience over the last 25 plus years, a rock solid time to be active as a buyer or seller. My name is Charles Cherney. Reach out at any time by text, telephone, or email if myself and my business partner, Maggie D, can be of assistance to you as you aim to buy or sell. Be in touch. Take care.